This is a quick look outside the courthouse. A few moments ago, Michael Flynn, the president's former national security advisor, arrived for his sentencing hearing at the federal courthouse in Washington. So we are all over this for you. And as we await that, we're going to bring in our headliner this morning, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders. Sarah, thank you for your time this morning.
Morning.
He's there.
Nice to be with you guys this morning.
Nice to be with you, too. He has arrived. What are the president's expectations this morning for this?
Look, we don't have expectations, but certainly we have a lot of concerns, and I think that the judge did as well, which is why he requested additional information, particularly about the way the FBI broke every standard protocol that they have. And we know that because of James Comey's actual comments that they threw FBI protocol out the window for one reason and one reason only, because it was the Trump administration and they thought they could get away with it. That gives certainly a lot of concern for how this was conducted. They even convinced Michael Flynn not to include White House counsel's office in the interview. A lot of problems here, and we'll see what the judge does later today.
Are you arguing that he was entrapped?
Look, we're arguing that he was certainly ambushed and that the FBI that we know had clear political bias. We've seen that time and time again. One thing we're 100% sure on is that the president made the right decision in firing James Comey, because every single day we learn more and more all of the things that he did that were so far out of bounds for what the FBI director should do. And we'll see how that plays out in court today.
Well, just one more question on this.
But certainly that's one thing that we're 100% certain on.
The president tweeted earlier today, good luck today in court to General Flynn. And then he also said it'll be interesting to see what he has to say. Is there an expectation as to what Flynn could say in court in terms of explaining this?
No, but I do think I think all of America is interested in what he has to say. I think that's why we've seen so much coverage on his sentencing. There's been lead-ups and countdowns since yesterday talking about the fact that this is taking place. And we're tuned in, and we'll see not just what he has to say, but also what the judge has to say and how he will react to what we know the FBI did in terms of the way that they ambushed Michael Flynn in the interview process that took place here at the White House.
So we await that. Meanwhile, here's the latest from James Comey on the president.
It undermines the rule of law. This is the President of the United States calling a witness who has cooperated with his own Justice Department a rat. This is not about Republicans and Democrats. This is about what does it mean to be an American? What are the things that we care about above our policy disputes, which are important? There's a set of values that represent the glue of this country, and they are under attack by things just like that. We have to stop being numb to it.
Sarah, how is the president responding to the former FBI director saying that President Trump, is undermining the rule of law?
I think the last person that we're going to take any lecture from about the values of this country is from a self-admitted liar and leaker that we know James Comey to be. There's no doubt that he did a tremendous number of things wrong and brought outrageous corruption to the FBI. He led it with a political bias that is unheard of at an agency like that. And so he'll be the last person that we're going to take any type of lecture from. What we know is that we're fighting every single day to make America better for the people of this country. It's why the president is so focused on making sure we have a strong economy, getting good trade deals, defeating ISIS, remaking the judiciary, and fighting for border security like we are seeing him do this week, like you've seen him do every day since he took office. This is a president who's fully committed to supporting and reflecting the values of the American people, and we certainly won't be lectured by James Comey about that.
Stay on border security here. Has the White House communicated to the Senate what you're willing to accept? In terms of a dollar amount for a continuing resolution, what would that number be?
We've been in continuous and will continue to have these conversations with both Senate and House Republicans and Democrats. Our team has been in constant communication. We're continuing to do that. I'm not going to negotiate here, but we've been talking to them even as late as this, just as recently as this morning. Those conversations continue. The president has been clear, Bill, about what the parameters are that he wants to see in the legislation, and we hope Democrats will not play games and support legislation, frankly, that they've supported in the past.
Got it.
Democrats have voted for legislation that we want to see happen.
Yeah, I apologize for the interruption. I'm just trying to nail this down. If the president wants $5 billion, would he take $2.5 billion? Would that be an acceptable number?
we have other ways that we can get to that $5 billion, that we will work with Congress if they will make sure that we get a bill passed that provides not just the funding for the wall, but there's a piece of legislation that's been pushed around that Democrats actually voted 26-5 out of committee that provides roughly $26 billion in border security, including $1.6 billion for the wall. That's something that we would be able to support as long as we can couple that with other funding resources that would help us get to the $5 billion.
That is a partial yes, but it sounds like the answer, or the solution rather, is more creative than we are led to believe. Accurate?
Look, we've been very clear with members of both Republicans and Democrats, the House and the Senate, on what we want to see, and we want them to work with us. At the end of the day, we don't want to shut down the government. We want to shut down the border from illegal immigration, from drugs coming into this country, and make sure we know who's coming and why they're coming. And that's what the president is focused on, and he's not going to back down until he gets what he needs to make sure the people of this country are protected.
Sarah, as far as the communication with the Senate, and we just played sound of multiple senators who say if there's a plan we don't know about. I mean, what is the communication there? What can you say publicly about the state of negotiations?
Again, we've been in constant contact. Our team was on the phone with Senate teams this morning, both from the comms perspective as well as the policy teams. And I think they know very clearly what we want to see. And we hope that they can get not just that done, but also let's get criminal justice reform done. And then let's get the government funded and let everybody have a very good Christmas and go home with something to celebrate.
Do you believe, in a legal sense, that you could use defense money for border security?
There's certainly a number of different funding sources that we've identified that we can use, that we can couple with the money that would be given through congressional appropriations that would help us get to that $5 billion that the president needs in order to protect our borders.
So you're exploring this, and you think legally you could do it?
Absolutely.
Obamacare could return to the Supreme Court. We're seeing some Republicans even distance themselves from this ruling. Where does the president stand on this issue today, Sarah?
We've known that Obamacare has been unconstitutional from the beginning. What we want to see is health care that actually protects pre-existing conditions, but also is affordable for Americans across the board. The president would love to work with Republicans and Democrats when we come back in the new year and do exactly that and create a health care system that actually works for everybody, not just picks winners and losers, and has skyrocketing costs like we've seen under Obamacare.
Finally, there is an event that we're waiting on about U.S. Space Command. What news are you prepared to break about what the American people need to understand in terms of the vision the White House has for what this program could be?
Certainly, this is something that's been a priority for the president, which is why he asked the vice president to lead this effort. And since that event is about to start, I'll let the vice president make that news. But I would encourage everybody to tune in. I think it'll be a great thing for our country, and certainly a great thing for national security.
We're watching the vice president right now on the split screen. I know you can't see it, but want our viewers to know that. Sarah, thank you for your time. I want to come back to General Flynn, and because he will be in court in 45 minutes. Will you and the president be watching that at 11 a.m. Eastern Time?
Certainly we'll be tuned in. I'm not sure if the president will. He's got a lot of meetings and other things this morning, and if he doesn't have a chance to watch it, I know we'll update him on what happens, but certainly we'll be tuning in to see what happens.
Only because earlier in our discussion here, you described what the FBI did as an ambush. Can you be more clear about how you believe that went down?
Well, I think it's very clear by James Comey's own public comments of the fact that they sent people over here, encouraged Flynn not to include White House counsel's office, which would be totally out of protocol for an FBI interview. They went around, and he even said they did this because they thought they could get away with it because the Trump administration was new.
But do you believe the tactics were illegal?
That's something that the court will have to determine whether or not it was illegal, but it was certainly inappropriate and certainly not the way that the FBI should conduct itself as the leading law enforcement agency of this country.
Last point on that. Do you and the president believe that Mike Flynn broke the law?
you know, that's something, again, that we'll let the courts make that determination, and we'll see what happens in that later today. But certainly, I think one thing is definitely clear is we think that the FBI went outside of the bounds and the scope of what they the way that they should operate in the way that they conducted themselves in interviewing Michael Flynn.
We are well out of time, but we appreciate your time today. Thank you. Come back soon. Merry Christmas to you at the White House.
Thank you, Sarah.
Sanders, you bet. Thank you.